It's really amazing what you can do when you really set your mind to things. I've just walked up a really steep slope up through the woods to get to this point, so I can share this wonderful backdrop with you in the glorious Peak District. And as I was walking up, there was a tree that had fallen, and part of the trunk was sticking out into the path, and I thought, oh, I'm not going to stop, I'm going to keep going until I get to that tree stump, and I will put my bag down and take my jumper off, which is now in my bag, and then I'll carry on the walk. But when I actually got to the tree stump, I thought, nah, I've got a feeling that I'm 3/4 of the way to the top. So I kept on going, and it was a new route up through these woods, but it met a route that I climbed a little while ago, and I thought, God, that feels good to get all the way to the very top, to the summit, and then admire the view triumphantly, and then start recording this. And the thing is, there's always something going on to try and steal your attention, and I've been getting, I must admit, somewhat, just a smidgen involved in the completely false the completely false outrage, that they've elected a radical Muslim communist for mayor in New York City, and people are feigning disgust and outrage. But the thing is, it gets them turned on. The men have got tent poles sticking out of their trousers, they're so enraged, and the women's vaginas are dripping at the moment. People absolutely love it. I don't care what anybody says. And yeah, maybe you'll call me a bit vulgar for saying those things, but you know what? Nothing sells like a good bit of anger and a bit of rage for people. But I get myself out walking, and I go these fantastic routes, and I just feel so blessed. And I've sent out a couple of tweets, and I replied to somebody's post saying, well, they got what they voted for, let them see what enrichment actually looks like, because obviously this Mamdani figure is a total fucking psychopath and wants to get rid of the police in New York City. I mean, let's see how well that goes, and wants to abolish all billionaires. But he's been photographed in a celebratory photograph with a billionaire George Soros's son, an heir to the empire, and you just think it is just a pantomime, but everybody has to play their part, and I'm just pointing out the ridiculousness of it all. And somebody replied to my comment saying, you sound a bit mental, mate. And I thought, yeah, cheers, thanks a lot. It's great. And it's all a bit of a laugh, because obviously it's so predictable. But when you're online, what you're witnessing is little snapshots of things, the highlight reel. And you're also looking at something that largely is so curated. And you look at a photograph, and I mean, the backdrop is probably fake, not like mine. I do make a point, actually. I'm going to do this for you, just to prove that. I'm going to turn around, and you see, it's real. All the leaves rustling. But I like to bring you real stuff, meaningful stuff as well. But the photograph that you see with, the pretty young 23-year-old girl who's earning $5 squillion a second, whatever the numbers, the amounts. It sounds like sour grapes, but that photograph that you see has been selected probably from a shoot of 50 or 100 photographs, and the young boss bitch shouting at her mother saying, "Oh mum, you make me look fat in that one, why don't you just take it at a better angle and do this and chin up," and then that the person has agonized over it, and then they've released the photograph, and they will spend the rest of the day thinking how unattractive they look, and oh god, what if this post doesn't get 1,000 likes? And it's obviously, there's a huge amount of desperation involved and sort of attempts at manipulation to get you to buy. And there's a podcast guest called Tanya Edwards, who goes on the Dalrymple quite a lot with James Dalrymple. She's great. And she says, look, if you're going onto Twitter and you're pretending that it's for anything other than, a sales pitch, then you're just completely deluded. And I do admire her honesty on this point. We're going to head down now, down a little slope, whee, dump, and now we're going to walk. We're going to walk back underneath the path that we've just come down. I'm going to switch hands just for a moment. Shoulders starting to ache, you see the efforts that I go to for you. But stop fucking comparing yourself. Stop trying to be perfect, because the truth is that no matter how successful people seem, and even if they actually are successful, nobody actually knows what the next step is. They don't. And the people that do, well, I tell you what, they're mostly robotic people who are controlled by other interests. So they, who are trying to sell you the idea of freedom, don't actually live it themselves. You've got to understand that trusting yourself is the greatest thing that you can do. Because no matter who you look to for answers, and you can learn things from people, but they're never going to be able to give you the answers that you exactly need. They aren't. And you know what? It's absolutely fine. You can make it up as you go along. You can decide, as the sun's setting of a day, to come out for a walk anyway. It's a wonderful thing to experience freedom. So make it up as you go along. Take yourself out for a massive walk. And I'm not going to be one of these puritanical pricks who tells you that you've got to come out on a walk without your phone and no technology. And if you want to do that, fine. And there have been times I have done it. But then if I didn't bring out my phone with me, I wouldn't be able to send photographs, that I've taken in the moment and send them to the family WhatsApp group. Immediate family, not extended family. I don't like extended family Facebook groups or WhatsApp groups. Oh, just breeding grounds for resentment and competition. No, collaboration. Work with good people, interact with good people who are doing stuff, who are dropping value, modern parlance. See with me, down with the kids, street cred, yo. It's all a pantomime, It's all a pantomime. Who knows if any of the stuff that's being reported is even happening? We have no idea. What we can know is what we're taking responsibility for, what we're doing in our day-to-day lives, the results that we're getting. And the results that you want will be very, very different from the results that I want, but we all want to live our best possible lives. So only comment on these political and cultural things to point out that if you're not doing anything to make things better on your own individual basis, then what are you really doing? What are you really doing? You're just contributing to the drama and the theatre of it all. Be the show. Show people what they can do instead. How to live a better and a happier and more rewarding, fulfilling life. Opportunity's always there. Because most people will get hundreds of thousands of likes and millions of subscribers, but behind closed doors, they're often weeping themselves to sleep, which they admit, you know, in their comeback tours 10 years later. Oh yeah, you know, I did all this political stuff, but I ended up with a divorce, my children hating me, and a drug habit. This is what happens. I've seen the cycle so many times. Build yourself a better cycle. Good people, good experiences like this. Get yourself out into nature, into the country. Get on a train, get on a bus, drive yourself out there. Make it happen. Make it happen for yourself. Make it happen for those that you love. You can make a valid contribution with the skills that you have, and you have all the technology in place with which to do it. Don't waste it. Live a great life. Decide it for yourself.